Greetings, Twilight Struggle fans, and welcome to a special midweek edition of ITSL Game of the Week here on Action Round Zero. I'm Justin Abrams, and Ani Palmer's coming right up. Harry Flores keeping us online and on the air. And it's great to have you with us for a great matchup of two players making their ARZ debuts as American Justin Nordstrom takes on Sophie Askew of Canada. Justin is a well-known player in the Eastern U.S. as he captains Pennsylvania's U.S. Cup team. They won their group this year and qualified for the playoffs in 2022 as well. Justin has also made a name for himself in the Atlantic League, taking second place overall in 2021 and winning his group this year as the tournament is still ongoing. You can catch his recorded games on YouTube where he goes by the handle Keystone Twilight. His ITSL record this year sits at an even 5-5, and he'll be playing as the USSR today. On the U.S. side, we have Sophie Askew, who is brand new to the Twilight Struggle community, having just started competitive play this year. She has 4 games under her belt so far, has managed a 2-2 record. However, those 2 wins happen to come against a top 100 mainstay in Jordan Cass and an elite Korean player in BH and she also took defending ITSL champion Michael Patnick to turn 10 before bowing out on DEF CON. So Sophie's certainly not going to be an easy out. So freshen up your morning coffee if you're in the US, or grab your afternoon tea if you're in Europe, and come on along for the ride as the two players look to make a splash in their first appearance here on Action Round Zero, Twilight Struggle's biggest stage. Now let's turn to Ani Palmer. Ani, I know you and Pepe the Monkey record your games on YouTube with great production value, I might add. Do you ever feel any added pressure during games knowing that every move you make will be dissected and potentially criticized by the viewers at home? And if so, how do you think that pressure might affect these two players in today's game, if at all?
Yes, I think that it's always a little bit of pressure because it's totally different to be watching a game and just criticizing it. But when I'm playing with Pepe, I have the additional pressure that I have a monkey with a keyboard and it's like going to do, and he's distracting me all the time. So Sophie and Justin have the advantage that there's no monkey, there's only people judging. So, but yeah, of course, it will affect them, but our intention is to just try to think about what we would have done, what they could have done differently, but there's never like a better option. I mean, just the strategy and sometimes cards, rolls. So
Yeah, of course. And, obviously the people in Twilight Struggle community are a lot easier on you than Pepe the Monkey, I'm sure.
for sure.
But anyway, I'm sure the folks didn't tune in just to listen to me yammer. So let's get to the game. So thank you, Harry Flores. You can go and start the video. We're watching from Justin's side today, and he's playing as the USSR. And as I look at his hand, I see some ops, I see some access. This looks pretty good to me. What do you think, Ani?
One of the best hands that he could have got. It could have been better if he had defectors and duck and cover, but having decall, Marshall with UN intervention, nuclear, yeah, he's got ops and he's got good events. Having access cards is really important in turn 1, so he
Yeah,
won't
this
be
is
complaining.
great. So you've got a 4-op and nuclear test ban, and it's a guilt-free 4-op. You've got another guilt-free 4-op and UN of Marshall Plan. Um, then, of course, you've got decall. Probably Justin is a little bit more conservative player. I cannot imagine he will risk decall in the headline without defectors in
No.
hand. You might see Suez in the headline potentially, or you could maybe get Cambridge, perhaps hunting for Asia. We will see. But yeah, you could probably see a 4-op coup here out of Justin, and then maybe a quick decall. We'll see how the board goes. But this, I'd be very happy to see this hand, even as the USA, but especially as the USSR.
Course, yeah. I think Sweat Crisis here is really interesting because you've got a 4-up to coup Iran. It's in his interest also to degrade DEFCON so he can play decall comfortably. So I think that both Sweat Crisis and Cambridge are, yeah, Cambridge also.
Yeah, Cambridge is fine. I might have potentially gone with Suez here only because oftentimes if you play Suez, if you headline Suez and then you coup Iran and you leave 1 or 2 back in there, sometimes the USA will be desperate to get back into the Middle East and they'll coup back. Then
Yeah.
dropping DEFCON to 3, and that guarantees you Thailand threatens France and creates all kinds of problems for the USSR with not DEFCON with decall in hand. And there's Europe scoring in the headlines. So Yeah, and Cambridge 5 going to miss.
Yeah, I didn't like so much Cambridge in this case because he already had access to Southeast Asia. So Swift was it had been my preferred headline, but anyway, it's a 3-up that he's keeping. So
Yep, and now Sophie headlined Europe, which is notable. That unusual to see the U.S. headline Europe scoring. That's just a weak hand from on Sophie's part. But yeah, and if Justin had headlined Suez here, you would probably see a coup. But well, you know what? Looks like we're going to see a coup right back anyway, and a huge roll for Sophie. So she's got to be happy about that. But Justin has to be happy that he's going to be able to grab Thailand here.
yeah, Thailand is so important at this point. He's also going to threat France, which, okay, Europe's just been scored, but it's always an interesting threat. So I think decall is now going to be very useful.
Oh, this is interesting.
Yeah.
Not thinking about decall here. I would have decalled here at DEF CON 3. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Okay. So Justin decides to coup. Coup's Panama wipes it out. All right. So now Justin will be taking a DEF CON 2 decall. And so might not be able to get Thailand. We will see. Um, okay, a 3-op here. So interesting. Sophie had a 4-op in NATO and a 3-op in Warsaw in her hand, and yet chose to headline Europe scoring anyway. Very interesting. Ani, what do you think about that move from Justin?
I don't like it, but I'm always super obsessed with Thailand, and sometimes it's not so important. But in this case, particular when Iran was totally blue, I don't like it, really. I would have evented Equal first, because now, well, of course, he can flip probably Thailand with China, but you would have to use China. I'm not a fan of that one, but
Yeah, I think that's a situation where I would have gone ahead and decalled at DEF CON 3 myself. Now, what
yeah.
Justin may have been thinking here is that, you know what, the US is never going to you're never going to be able to get both Thailand and France. Okay, so there's a 3-op. And so we'll see if Justin wants to use China here to flip Thailand over. But Ani, to your point, this is one of those games where Thailand looks like it's going to be really important. Thailand's always important, of course, but particularly with Justin not being able to kick Sophie out of Western Asia. Justin looks like he might have to eat a a Asia domination here if he doesn't flip over Thailand. After probably going to lose Pakistan and India as well as Thailand. So Justin looks like he's going to be on the back foot here in Asia, where I think if he had decalled at DEF CON 3, it would have been at least a draw.
Yes, I think the same. He now could take France, but yeah, he has to play China and flip, because if not, he doesn't have access to Pakistan right now. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I was wondering if he might go instead of Indonesia, go Lao with his other Southeast Asian decall op to try and stop obviously Sophie from getting to Lao first. We'll see what Sophie does now. France is scored. So France is scored. Excuse me. Europe is scored. So less important than Thailand, but obviously a very important country. Okay, just a 2-op here. Lao and Malaysia as
Lebanon,
well. Yep.
Lebanon is being ignored, and it's also important here. Yeah, okay.
Yep.
He's taking
With Middle East
Lebanon.
unscored. I like
Yeah.
1 Lebanon, 3 France. Yes, I like this play from Justin. Take
It
presence
was
in the Middle East and then
mm,
take France, which even though Europe has scored, it's still an important country.
really important. And if, as USSR, in the first turn you get France and Thailand, that's okay.
Yep. So this, overall, a pretty nice board for Justin. It appears. He lost out on Iran. Looks like he's going to lose out. Excuse me, on Pakistan and India as well. But as long as he can get South Korea, Asia will at least be a draw. He got to Lebanon. Nasser's still to come. He's locked up France, and he's got influence in Africa as well. Now, I'm sure he will not want to see CIA next turn. So on AR6, I imagine we will see Justin go into Zaire, potentially fill up Iraq. We'll see.
Okay, Sophie's taking Jordan.
Sophie takes Jordan, which gives her a domination. I think I would have rather taken Egypt there. What do you think, Ani?
I like taking Egypt because Nasser, at least, it just it doesn't give him domination. I mean, you still keep the country unscored, and no, not unscored. I don't know the word right now, but empty. I mean, with one USSR influence and two US influence. So I like taking Egypt,
Yep,
especially
I like it
because
as well. I really like to prioritize getting to
mm,
Libya as the U.S. on turn one,
yeah.
especially if even if Middle East is scored, to be honest with you. But even if it's especially if it's not, so I'm surprised to see Jordan there. I will often see Jordan plays when a coup of Iran wipes it out, and then Iraq just has the one influence, with one USSR influence, and then Iran is blank to kind of force the USSR to put influence there. But that's obviously not what's happening here. We've got something else. And then, of course, Ani had to overprotect, got to overprotect Thailand in this situation.
Okay, she is taking Egypt now. Oh, another interesting hand for Justin.
Okay, so Justin gets Asia, also gets Sakovs and De Gaulle, which useless here, pretty much. Now, Vietnam. Will Vietnam give domination? It will not, but could
No,
enable Justin to fight for domination by flipping some countries in Southeast Asia.
I
Suez
like
not really going to do
lining
anything.
Asia here, I think, right? Because he hasn't got, I mean, he's got to spend a lot of influence to try to take Asia, and Sophie can take Pakistan, can take India. So it's difficult to score Asia domination right now for Justin, I think. Let's see if he headlines Vietnam and tries, but
Yeah, Vietnam's reasonable. Nasser is reasonable. Stops Middle East domination in the headline. Um, Asia also reasonable. I'm sure Justin loves not seeing CIA in his hand, um, and loves also seeing defectors in his hand, so he can go ahead and hold that to turn three.
yeah. I think both Nasser and Vietnam are interesting headlines.
Yeah, I'm fine with Nasser here. Okay, there's Bert the Turtle. Okay,
That's
so
great for taking Libya.
yep, that's so Justin probably not happy to give up the three VPs there, and not happy to not get a coup. But now he's going to get Libya out of the deal. We're looking at Portugal to take Europe domination. I think Libya is much more important. Um, Portugal doesn't seem important to me at all. Well, it is important, but with Europe scored, Libya seems much more important.
Yeah, I think he's going to take Libya. He's thinking the same as you, I guess, because Libya is more important just right now than Europe domination.
Yep,
Asia
especially
is
with Middle East
safe.
unscored. I honestly like two. I'm fine with two Libya, one Egypt.
Yeah, me too. Because Middle East is unscored. So yeah, it's winning more VPs, putting more pressure over Sophie that won't be spending so many influence in Asia if she wants to try to protect Middle East a bit or something.
Yeah, I'm fine with this as well. Taking Libya and then one South Korea. You do not want Sophie to trigger the Korean War and then dump the two right back in and take South Korea. So one
Mm.
South Korea is important as well. I like this move from Justin.
Yeah, I like this one. I do like it. Now he can score Asia easily, and
Okay, big four-op play. Oh, interesting. So Sophie gonna flip back Egypt. You don't usually see that from the US in the early war, but
yeah,
that does stop domination effectively.
yeah, and it seems she's going to fight for her domination.
Yeah, and Justin does not have a four-op to take Saudi Arabia. So okay, it goes Portugal and South Korea. I think I would have, I with all due respect to the couple of Spaniards on the call with me, I think I like taking the battleground better. But I do understand the Portugal play, but it seems more urgent with Europe unscored than it does in this case with Europe scored.
Yeah, I think the same. I wouldn't be worrying so much for Europe right now. But I like what he's doing in South Korea, really.
Yeah, yeah, taking South Korea is fine. Okay, Justin's just going to dump the scoring there to pick up one in
Mm.
Asia. I don't think it was going to get much better for him. He, could have put two more into South Korea, but then I think Sophie would have just taken
Mm.
Pakistan. Justin does not have the war.
Yeah, but maybe guaranteeing Turkey would have been helpful. Because I guess Sophie will grab Turkey.
Yeah, Turkey could be an important country here.
Mm.
Romanian abdication also unseen, I believe. So that could be important as well when Europe comes back. As the U.S., I generally, excuse me, as USSR, I generally don't put a ton of effort into fighting for Europe Dom. If I get France, usually I'm happy to score Europe for +1 and spend my ops elsewhere. But in this case, Justin doesn't have access to a ton of open battlegrounds, so fighting for it here is not too bad. I would like to see Justin get another op into France and overprotect it. I don't know that we've seen Truman yet, but even if we haven't, I like overprotecting France so it doesn't get jammed on AR6.
Yeah, we haven't seen Truman yet, so I guess that before the turn ends, he will be placing at least one more influence. CIA.
This should, yeah, okay. CIA for one in Turkey. Yeah, so I think we need South Korea here.
And he breaks. I don't understand this move.
Um, I'm not
Mm,
sure I understand it either. The break of West Germany normally, a good play by the U.S. to get access to France. Um, but in this case, maybe with Europe scored though, and the
mm,
USSR already having taken France, I'm not sure. I'm not sure I understand. I would much rather seen those two ops spent in South Korea.
yeah. Zaire, whatever, wherever. I think there are many places where I don't know why he's. I'm sure he has his reasons, but
Yeah, and so and now I would expect, and that's the other problem is I would expect to see a blockade event here. We haven't seen D-stall, and I would have liked to see Justin get into Zaire, like you said, and also take South Korea. And if he events blockade, he obviously can't do either of those things. But maybe he's not going to event blockade. Okay, it looks like he is.
it's interesting because there are still a couple of three ups around. So yeah, she's Japan. Well, at
Okay,
least
that's interesting. Okay, you know what? I criticized Justin, but that
yeah.
poke of West Germany, he now has domination because that was a discard there, and then the Romanian Romanian had to be played, which gives Justin domination, and then so that's good for him. And he also draws a nice hand here. He has Middle East, which I'm sure he's not happy to see, but he gets D-stall, which obviously is the most important call. Also, most important card. Also redraws he also has defectors here, so and he'll be able to so he can headline D-Stall here if he really wants to.
Yeah, we haven't seen independent Reds yet. Also, and Sophie's got Truman. We had seen the perk, yeah, played as operation points. Yes, in the first turn, yeah. So yeah, Distal could be a really interesting headline.
Yeah, so Justin may and now if we do see D-Stall, I think you're probably gonna empty Independent Reds is an interesting headline, as you mentioned,
Yeah.
for Sophie. So D-Stall could be interesting to empty out Romanian before Independent Reds takes effect. You probably would go, I assume with that D-Stall, you'd go Panama, Venezuela, Chile, and Nigeria. I think that would be my play, although some players like to get frisky with Mexico. Then maybe you take a coup in Egypt with Middle East scoring known in your hand. And then score the Middle East and try and get your try and fill up South America as much as you can. How would you play this, Ani?
Totally the same. Yeah, I think that now for Justin, it's important to dump Middle East and start placing his influence in South America, Central Africa, to spread around all of the mid-war regions. Maybe he will place in India with Distal. That could also be an option there.
Yep, with the war in hand, that's certainly possible. But okay, Sophie headlines Marshall, which pretty much says goodnight to any possibility of Justin scoring Europe domination. So he empties out Romania. Romania, yeah, I like this. This is exactly what I'd do. And then I would take a nice coup in Egypt. I don't know if I'd use my 4 here. I might just use I think the 4-op may be better used to fill up South America, but Middle East is in your hand. Might as well take a shot. Oh, and he just rolls a 2. So disappointing roll for Justin, and he's almost certainly going to eat a Middle East domination here. And then he will set to work filling up South America.
Yes, he has to forget about Middle East and spread around, because in turn 4 you can have Voice of America, Junta, OAS. So yes, he has to invest his operation points in.
Yeah, but the problem is he's also got to put 1 in Zaire. He's also got to put 2 in South Korea. He's also got to put 1 in Algeria. He's got to score the Middle East. He's captured Nazis is probably going to be an event. So Justin's got a lot of work to do on this board. Yeah, and that's annoying for Justin. I think I think you have to respond to that by just taking South Korea here.
Yes, I think he
Because
has.
I believe Sophie has the war. So if Sophie wants to space the war, she can just go ahead and take South Korea. Yeah, I think Justin's got to put all 3 here. Yeah.
Yeah, he would. It would also be interesting for him to take Vietnam, just to try to protect Thailand a little bit more against brush war. So now he has lots of things to do and not so many points right now to spend.
Yeah, I agree. So Justin has a lot of access, but very little in the way of ops to back it up. So he's got a maximum of 5 ops and probably just 4, because I suspect he will want to event captured Nazi. Okay, there's so Justin hoping to. Okay, so he wins the war. Happy to get those 2 VPs, I'm sure. And there goes Burma. Yeah, Sophie knows that Justin has IP war. So Justin concedes the 3 VPs, and now he'll be able to work on South America. But yeah, with just probably 4 ops to work with, you probably fill up Venezuela, fill up Panama, go 1 Brazil. Oh man, and then 1 Zaire, I guess.
Well, yeah, everything is important, because leaving Venezuela and Brazil only with two is also very risky. I
I
guess he
really
will be
hate. Yeah.
holding UN intervention, so he hasn't got many options with his influence.
Yeah, I'm sure
Zaire
Justin
is
ideally
very
would like
important.
to space defectors, hit the roll, and then okay, well, and there you have it. So I suspect we'll see captured Nazi here to defend against double space. Yeah, normally as US you like to space on the 2/3 shot, hit that roll, and then event captured Nazi to pick up two VPs. But Justin was not going to do that anyway. He desperately needs those ops, so he's happy to concede
Mm.
that one VP to put some ops in South America.
Yeah, I think it's more important to invest right now. His points there.
Yeah,
Ooh.
that's really annoying. So yeah, Justin now going to have to do that.
Yeah, Sophie isn't putting things very easy for Justin. Yeah.
Yeah, and now Sophie, I don't think Sophie knows about IP war, but does not know about UN. This is a time where you could consider doing something like jamming France, because you and then leaving. Okay, you can just you could event that, and just poke France and leave, force Justin to leave South America so vulnerable. Okay, and Justin, perhaps realizing that as well, overprotects France, but now he looks like he's only going to get three into South America. VOA is going to be devastating no matter what. Um, but
Yeah.
ooh, I think I would have gone one Brazil rather than filling up Venezuela. So you have less vulnerability to grain or ABM, grain ABM brush in a turn four headline. But yeah, just not a lot of ops here for Justin. Had to take South
Mm.
Korea, used a big four op for the coup. So he's going to be really crossing his fingers that he doesn't see a big card in the turn four headline for from Sophie.
Yeah, she's done a really good work avoiding him to take the advantage of distal. So yeah, she's done a pretty good work bothering Justin this turn.
Yeah, no
Mm.
question about that. And now as I look at this board, Justin clearly ahead on the board. Asia's a draw, but he's got France. His only bad region is the Middle East, but he's ahead in Africa. Okay, and there's a Zaire flip. But ahead in Africa, ahead in South America, and he's got the one in Panama. But just one event from Sophie could really, really change the complexion of this game. And this is an ugly hand for Justin. But I'm sure he's happy to see CRGs and puppets in his hand rather than in Sophie's.
Yeah.
US Japan, not too bad to give up. So I suspect we will see one of puppets and CRG's UN and space the other. This isn't too bad for Justin, but also nothing great. Um, and so, he's going to be holding his breath to see if Sophie pulled grain, VOA, ABM, Junta, brush. Big moment in the game here, Ani.
Yeah, Sophie could have any of the power cards. So yeah, I think the same. He will UN intervention, colonial or puppets, and just event Japan. Space or colonial or puppet. There's no, well, Allende is an interesting event in the sense that if she headlines Voice of America, at least he can stay in Chile. But
Yep. I think Allende is the clear headline here.
mm,
Gets you back into South America if voice kicks you out. Um, and, Portuguese doesn't do a ton. Um, Suez does nothing.
yeah,
Um,
Portuguese could be interesting to hold just in case she flips Angola or something.
yep. Yeah. Also, not a ton of ops here for Justin. He does have the 1-4 op. Obviously don't like giving away Japan. Not a particularly important country here, although with Formosan in effect, if Sophie finds the ops to fill up India and fill up Taiwan, she can score domination. But that's a lot of ops to spend in Asia when there are open battlegrounds around the board. Oh, Bear Trap is nasty too. Not as nasty as some of the other ones we mentioned, but that's gonna get Sophie a coup here. Oh, no, that's big trouble for Justin.
Yes, it is. Well, at least he can play Japan with UN intervention.
Yep.
But
He gets rid of two problem cards, but Justin probably would have liked to have a space card here, um,
mm,
and take that first shot at VPs. But now I guess obviously we don't know what's in Sophie's hand, but I'd be taking a big 4-op swing at Venezuela, wouldn't you, Ani?
I would have, yeah. I don't know what's in his hand, of course, but I would even play China to coup Venezuela. Well, maybe she's got other, I don't know, junta, OAS. No, maybe she has access, but yeah, OAS.
Oh, interesting. OAS first before the coup. Okay, and Justin gets out on the second roll.
Hmm.
Oh, just a 1-op coup. 1-op coup in Nigeria empties it out. Wow, that shows serious weakness in Sophie's
Yeah.
hand. So Sophie doesn't go for Venezuela, and instead is going to allow Justin to take one of the South American countries. And just be contented to have a foothold here in South America. I think
Hmm.
that, yeah, this was me my play. I like this play, and then I think Sophie will simply take Argentina.
Yeah, I like it. And now Justin can threat also Argentina with realignments, taking Uruguay or Paraguay or whatever. So yeah, I think Sophie's hand is very weak.
It's very weak, or perhaps she has Africa scoring, and really wanted to try and score a domination there. But if I had Africa, I would be using a bigger card than a 1-op for that coup.
Yes.
Um,
Yes, I think that if she had Africa, she would have used any other card to coup. Hmm.
yep. So Bear Trap was a nice headline. I'm surprised that she would just take a 1-op coup there. Okay, now 2-ops in this will just be Argentina, no question about that. Okay, Justin, I think needs to. I think Justin probably needs to take Panama. He needs to take Algeria, and maybe just that. Maybe a third in Angola, although it is realignable at the moment, and you do have Portuguese, so maybe that's not particularly important. Oh, this is interesting as well.
Yeah, I like that also.
Justin also needs mill ops,
Yeah,
and
if he goes
both
into
players need mill
that,
ops.
yeah. Sophie
So
has
this is
just one, so yeah, I like that.
boy another
Oops.
1-op.
CIA again.
Okay, and now Justin, I assume, will. Yeah, he's gonna. Sophie has shown no indication whatsoever that she has a playable 3-op, but I like putting two in Nigeria anyway.
Yes. Yeah, but I don't know what she's got, but it doesn't seem that she can flip Nigeria just right now.
Yeah, so Sophie was in a great position to do some serious damage after a bear trap headline and a missed roll from Justin, with Justin not in Brazil. Um, but Sophie clearly does not have the hand to take advantage of it. That was another 1-op.
Never.
Okay, Sophie hits on the roll, and she is not going to be pleased right now. So Sophie played Summit, CIA, uh, Truman, OAS, and then had a 2-op play in Nixon. Okay, and there's a 3-op. So she did have one 3-op. Again, knocks Justin out in one roll. Can she get Zaire? No. So Justin can flip back Angola if he wants to. Or he's just going to take a coup of Cameroon. Okay. Maybe hoping for South Africa. And also probably figuring that if he's giving containment, then just a 2-op flips Angola back. So perhaps not particularly useful.
Maybe Sophie has Africa scoring.
If I had Africa, if I were Sophie and I had
Yes.
Africa,
So
I would have triggered it when Justin made the move into Cameroon and Saharan states before he took Algeria. You would have scored it for +1 at that time. So I
mm,
don't. Okay, there's Alliance. So okay, so Sophie did have a couple of 3 ops, just didn't want to use them. Okay, taking Mexico. All right, leaving Angola at 1 with South African unrest unseen. Justin does not get it. He does get Junta and Brush, though.
that's interesting.
Yeah. Okay, and interestingly, also interesting is neither player spaced. There, you usually see when space is 2-2, you see players jump at the opportunity to space quickly, but neither of them took a space shot. Obviously,
Well,
Justin would
Sophie
have, but he was stuck in the trap.
Sophie didn't have ops really
Yeah.
to face.
Yep. And Sophie
And
could have, I suppose
yeah,
she could have spaced U2, but with her op situation, clearly that wasn't going to
mm,
happen.
no. And Justin had been trapped.
Yep.
So
He had 2 very good space candidates, but he threw them both into the trap. Okay, so for Justin, what's your headline here? I don't think you can. I don't think you can headline Africa. I think you may want to try and fight for Africa. Are you just going to headline Junta here? I think Junta is the right play, isn't it?
yeah, I think so too. What I'm not sure about is degrading DEFCON or just going Zaire afterwards, because it is important for him to score Africa domination.
Yeah, 100%, Ani. If Sophie plays a strong disruptive headline, then sure, you can just go to Mexico, coup Mexico, or to Argentina, coup Argentina, and then fix the damage. But if not, I would 100% be cooing Zaire to try and flip over Africa domination.
Yeah.
And I would just, put, maybe to Argentina. You could take a shot at even realigns of Argentina if you wanted to. If Justin's feeling frisky, which perhaps he is, you could do to Mexico, something like that. You could coup Paraguay, or excuse me, coup Uruguay. There's plenty of choices for not lowering DEFCON.
Let's see what Sophie headlines, but I think that probably will be Justin's play really, because he has Africa scoring. So
Yeah, he has the scoring. He doesn't have domination, but obviously a battleground coup would give it to him. Sophie thinking long and hard about her headline. Maybe she's got another weak hand, or maybe she's deciding between grain, voice, and ABM. You never know.
maybe, yeah.
In all seriousness, I think grain would be my headline in that case. Just stealing the battleground coup here, so important with Africa on a knife's edge. But then again, isn't Africa always on a knife's edge?
Yeah, I think grain sales, of course, is the most powerful event for a headline, because, well, of course, ABM is also nice, but
I'd even
but
be
I'm,
fine with a card like CMC here to protect Africa. Also, it was pointed out in the chat. I don't think we mentioned it, but Justin needed Millops there. So he could have flipped over Angola, but his coup of Cameroon was good because it stopped domination and it gave him Millops.
yes, yes, yes.
So Sophie still thinking about her headline. As she does, let's look at this board. Obviously, the Middle East. Okay, well, here we go. Ooh, assault headline. That jacks DEF CON up to 5. And what is Sophie going to pull here? Obviously not a power card. Is Purge in the discard? Perhaps CRG?
No, perk, I think it only appeared in turn 2.
Yeah, I
So
don't think Purge is in the discard.
yeah, it's not discarded yet, I think.
CRG is fine, but I don't. Maybe Sophie really worried about DEF CON. US Japan just wants to
She
pull a garden
probably,
variety 4.
yeah, she probably needs a 4-up.
And maybe she's desperate to get rid of gunmen. So Justin, now thinking hard here, he wants to get 2 coups to Sophie's 1. So he could coup Argentina and then coup Zaire, and then eat a coup back in Zaire. I don't know if the Argentina coup is that great, though, with a 2-op coup under Salt. Um, you need a 5 to do anything. Yeah, okay, Justin rolls a 3.
Yeah, but at least he degrades DEFCON. Now he can take a chance to a coup in Africa, which
Yeah,
of course
so
Sophie can coup back, but coups are 1-0 and he gets a 6. So
okay. Yeah, so that's a big roll. And now Sophie can take a coup back and get the last coup of the turn, or she can get rid of gunmen. But now with that huge roll, Justin may be able to score Africa nomination. Okay, it's going to take a coup in Nigeria. Okay. And so now Justin with a choice. He can take Argentina if he wants, or he can realign in Africa. Do you like realigning here?
I would have take Argentina first. Yeah,
Yeah,
because that
I think this is
gives
fine. It's a
control
guaranteed
in.
play.
Yeah.
Take the open battleground.
I like that one. It's control in South America, and now he has time to realign Nigeria, Zaire. He can even event brush war against both of them. So
Yep. And even if Justin misses on the brush war, he's not in danger of being dominated in Africa. Oh, and there's a jam of Brazil. Okay. Justin fixes that with Shuttle. That's fine. Shuttle could be a problem card for Justin if India and Japan get filled. But now with U.S. Japan played for a second time, that's not likely to be an issue.
yeah, and I guess that Sophie now has to be thinking more in South America, how to avoid at least control. So I don't think she's going to be
So yeah, so Sophie,
investing
if
so
Sophie,
many,
yeah,
yeah, influence in Asia, I guess.
sorry, I'm sorry. I apologize for
Sorry.
interrupting you. What I was going to say is Sophie had the opportunity, if she had Africa, had the opportunity to score it for just 3. Could have scored it instead of taking that coup. Instead, decided to jam again with China. Maybe thinking that Justin has that scoring. In fact, Justin has something else. Okay, and Justin says, "Okay, I give up. I'm gonna concede Brazil." Doesn't want to use brush for ops to take Brazil back. Probably with so many good targets in Africa and the scoring in hand, I think that makes sense.
Yeah, the thing is that you never know if brush is going to work or not. And
Oh,
having
yeah.
South America control is huge. So
Yep.
this decision will depend on if brush war succeeds or not.
I have missed many, many critical full strength brushes, so I definitely know what you're talking about there.
Yeah.
Justin going to take Paraguay. Okay.
And I guess now he will be eventing brush war against Nigeria or Zaire.
Yeah, I think I'd go. I think I'd go Zaire just because just to stop the real-line threat on Angola. But either way is fine. takes Kennedy. Okay.
I'm surprised she doesn't hold that.
Okay, Justin. Oh, well, Ani, you said it. That is a huge miss on Brush War. Justin also neglected decided not to repair Venezuela with a one-op. Boy.
Yeah.
Interesting that Sophie used Kennedy for ops. So Sophie played Salt and used China. So Sophie's going to hold 3 cards to next turn. Sophie also salted for a 4-op, but she had plenty of ops in this hand. And now Justin going to take a shot at a 1-op realign, and he misses on the roll. Now he's going to have to score on AR7 and not use nuke subs. And excuse me, not get a chance to space nuke sub. This is a really rough turn for Justin.
Yeah, I think some choices were complicated because, of course, you want to event Brush War because you've got Africa in your hand, but he could have ended the turn with South America control, and now it's tied. So,
Yeah, could have used Brush for ops. Could have scored Africa, maybe an AR earlier, and then spaced nuclear subs, held Kitchen. Could have used Kitchen to take Venezuela back. Okay, and after all that, the scoring after all of that fighting in Africa and South America, the scoring card that is in Sophie's hand is Asia.
okay, interesting hand now for him.
Here's some ops, but Purge is a problem. Or excuse me, not Purge. Missile Envy is a problem. If Justin does not want to headline Brezhnev, and this is not a great Brezhnev hand, Missile Envy is an issue.
Yeah, I think Perg would be a great headline here. But if he does headline Brezhnev and Sophie headlines Missile Envy, he could give NORAD or Cuban Missile Crisis also with Missile Envy. So
Yeah. And so, yeah, Brezhnev is good missile envy protection. Purge is nice. We Will Bury You is good grain sales protection if you're worried about Argentina getting flipped. But then if you obviously headline We Will Bury You, missile envy, you get purged. That's terrible. This is a tricky one. Ani, what would you headline here?
I like the perk here because Brezhnev having 2 scoring cards and 2 4-ups, it's a very I prefer to hold Brezhnev here.
Yep, I agree with you, Ani. Brezhnev is great against missile envy. It is weak against anything else. ABM grain. Okay, well, I don't think that's the card that Justin was worried about. Obviously ABM grain voice still out there. Justin. Okay, so Justin plans to hold purge, so he doesn't have to worry about it in the late war. He'll get one. He could space Sadat, but there's no reason to. I'm sure he just wants to get it out of the deck. He'll get one for Sadat, one for nuke subs, one for CMC, one for NORAD if he decides he wants to give it. So it's a 4-op Brezhnev, not too bad. And Justin, thinking about with South America in his hand, wants to take a coup in South America. Yeah, and that was going to be terrible regardless.
Yeah, bad coup.
You might see, with that result, you might just see Panama Canal return to Vented here. Would be a pretty good play for Sophie. Yep, there it is. See, this is a situation where I might just use Sadat and just take Panama and be fine with that and save my bigger cards for later. There's no good reason to space Sadat, I don't think. Obviously, having 2 in Egypt is important if you get Muslim Revolution, but I think having Sadat out of the deck and having 2 ops is more valuable.
Yeah, and then he would have 2 4-ups to be trying to flip South America or something.
Yep, he can also do things like flip Lao. He
Hmm.
needs probably wants to take Vietnam before Southeast Asia scored. Um, he could take Botswana. Botswana looks like could be an important country here. And obviously he has has two scoring cards in hand. He's got to deal with those, but he's also got some big ops. So we'll see. Um, Okay, so if Sophie's got a power card, and the only one left is ABM, I suspect we'll see it now. An ABM coup of Argentina is a big problem for Justin, particularly under lads. Would just need a 3 to flip the country over.
Yes, or even a coup in Panama with ABM would also be. It's bad for Justin to have both South and Central scorings right now. But also, if I think that if Sophie would have had ABM, he could have also maybe headline it and coup Thailand, for example, because Southeast Asia is also around.
Okay, and we haven't talked about it, but there it is. Sophie takes the space shot, hits the roll. At this point, I would dump one of my scorings. I don't think either one is going to get better for you unless you want
Yes.
to unless you want to do something like start jamming Venezuela. Because you're under Brezhnev. You do have 3 4-ops, but I think Justin wants to hold Purge, and he's got 2 scorings. I would dump one of my scorings. See, I like dumping one of my scorings before this attacking, but I also understand that Sophie could have Southeast Asia, and you want to get these VPs. If you're gonna spend 3 ops in Lao, you may as well put the 4th one in Vietnam.
Yeah, and probably if Sophie had Southeast Asia, maybe she would have taken Vietnam first. Uh, I don't know, but there's nothing implying that she's got Southeast Asia just right now.
Yeah.
And he knows that he has got Central and South America. So
Okay. So overprotecting Lao. So just putting 4-op in Lao when you have Central and South. And see, if you're going to do this, I would rather just put 2 Lao, 1 Vietnam. Because I don't want to make a 4-op play flip over Lao for 2 VP, and then my opponent could just answer with a 1-op play in Vietnam, and then I've spent 4, she's spent 1, and I've only gained 1 VP.
yeah, I don't
Okay.
like too much. Spending 4-op just right now to flip Laos. Having both scoring cards of South America and Central, I don't like that much.
Yeah, it's also not as if Southeast Asia is a disaster. If Ani dumps the Ani, I'm sorry. If Sophie dumps the scoring right there, it's even, and you move on with your life. Also, if you don't want Sophie to dump the scoring, if you don't want Sophie to dump the scoring, then jam Venezuela, which gives you South America domination, forces an immediate 3-op response. Otherwise, you can score Dom. Yeah, there's 2-op. I suspect we're just going to see one of these. Nope, Philippines, not Vietnam.
Okay, I guess now Justin will fight for South America domination. Maybe with NORAD. It's a 4-up.
Yep. So yeah, you can use NORAD. Quagmire is unseen. Okay, and there's Europe, just 1. Yeah, this would be the time, I think. Um, for Justin to, if Justin's going to do it, this is the time for him to jam Venezuela or dump the scoring. Okay, and that's exactly what he does, jams Venezuela.
Hmm. The thing is that Sophie, with placing one in Colombia, she will be tying things up again in South America and also threatening realignments.
Yep, that's right. So then Justin would presumably take Venezuela and maybe poke Brazil. And now Justin's going to use Purge. I don't like using Purge here. I think Justin's plan to hold Purge was a good one under Brezhnev, and now you're also not going to get the full benefit from Brezhnev. You're only going to get 3 ops out of it.
Yeah. Of course, he's putting a lot of pressure into.
Okay, you got 2 VPs out of it with OPEC. Now I think you're going to score here, right? Yeah.
He's jamming again, I guess.
Yeah, an AR6, this isn't great though, because it's exactly what you said, Ani, as this can be answered by a one-op play into Colombia.
Yeah, but maybe Sophie has to, I don't know, has any other obligation or something. Let's see.
Yep. Now, the fact that Sophie didn't fill Vietnam suggests that, okay,
Ooh,
oh my goodness, and that
ooh,
is a mistake.
yeah.
That is a mistake.
Yeah, I didn't like not placing one in Colombia.
It's got to be one Venezuela, one Colombia there.
Mm.
That's a big mistake that costs Sophie 4 VPs. And I was just about to say, the fact that Sophie did not put one in Vietnam suggests that she has it. So Justin's decision to ignore Vietnam pays off for him. But he does give NORAD. He gives NORAD. He scores the South America domination, so that works out well for him. And this hand not looking so good. And boy, I bet Justin is perhaps wishing that he had held on to Purge. But he did get 4 VPs out of it, so he can't be that sorry.
Yeah, and he
Oof.
got grain sales and voice are great to have in your own hand, really.
Yep.
He can space grain sales with no problem. Even if he had a problem, he has nuclear subs to fix it. So I think I really like to see voice in my hand if I am USSR. So he's got a 4 up, 2 3 up. Arms race
Yeah.
is going to be a very interesting event because he's already 6 VPs ahead, plus the 3 VPs of Southeast Asia, plus the 3 VPs of arms race. So things look pretty good for him right now.
Yeah, that's not bad. And having voice and grain, obviously, the fact that they waited until turn 7 to come out. Oh, also, no reshuffle. Um,
Oh, yeah.
Interestingly, we did not have a reshuffle, so that makes things interesting as well. Normally, this is a case where you could even space voice, event nuclear subs on AR6, and then trigger grain on AR7, and give something like South African unrest to it, something that's annoying that the USSR doesn't want to deal with. Yeah, Justin headlining Flower Power, which is interesting given his handle. Justin is a baker in his spare time, hence his his playdeck username. But yeah, he knows that Sophie almost certainly has missile envy. So that would make sense as a headline here. Missile envy and ABM both make sense as headlines for Sophie. But anyway, the play I mentioned, the spacing voice and then nuke subs and then grain to get it out of your hand, not perhaps as effective with no reshuffle. Obviously, I think he'd rather see Omit played for the event first. Yeah, and there's missile envy, so that's going to take arms race. A good play from Justin to event flower power and prevent a 4-up coup. So I think you'll just see a coup in Africa here.
And
Uh,
NORAD. Yeah.
Yep, bunch of good NORAD targets. Well, two. Panama and Argentina, both very good NORAD targets. I shouldn't say a bunch. Thailand would be a great NORAD target if Sophie had the China card, but she does not. Sophie probably also has ABM and rightly decided not to headline ABM. Could have headlined ABM to coup Thailand. Was probably hoping Justin would not headline Flower Power. Also, with NORAD in effect, obviously using ABM in an action round is much better. So yeah, Argentina and then a Garden Variety 3 to flip that over is nice.
Yes, I like here. Really, at this point, there's not much that Sophie can do in Southeast Asia. So she has to start thinking in another in other regions. She can't access Zaire. So yeah.
Yep, and Justin also, yeah, I think I'd just take my two VPs right here before I have to start dealing with the after effects of ABM. Justin probably also wants, Justin, I'm sure wants to take Zaire. Okay, yep, and there's Usuri to take China back. I'm sure Justin knew that was coming. Justin gets rid of grain. He doesn't want to give up a bunch of coups in Africa, given the state of the board here. So it looks like he's going to hang on to voice, give nuke subs AR7. All right, now the question becomes, I have to ask you, Ani, if Sophie spaces and hits the roll, are you going to event one small step for 3VP? I think you do, even with voice in your hand, right?
Yes.
That 3VP is just too good to pass up.
Yeah, I think that Justin now, I mean, in the next turn, they are going to enter into War Games zone. So I think that for both of them, now VPs are more important than anything else. So
Yep.
yeah.
Okay, and there's our man for just a coup, so no reshuffle. We will not see a reshuffle here. Kennedy was played for ops. Oh no, I like holding on to that. But but Justin also might know that Sophie doesn't have a space card. Although no, doesn't Sophie have Quagmire? Sophie probably has Quagmire. I would hang on to one small step, at least for
Yeah.
one more action round.
Mm. She does have Quagmire, yeah.
I mean, there was no reshuffle, so there's at least one card in the draw pile. In theory, it could be Quagmire, but there's a good chance that Sophie has it. Okay, Justin thinking about sock govs to be annoying and pause
Yeah,
NORAD.
for ABM and yeah.
But NORAD at this point, with NORAD's just a when NORAD probably just a one-op fix for Justin. But okay, use the sock govs to take Zaire, and now we'll see ABM. Yep, there it is. Yep, ABM coup Zaire. Oh, and not a good roll. And that's going to be Panama to ensure Justin doesn't realign. What about and yeah, and now Justin with no path back in. What about what about Sock Gov's one Panama, two Botswana?
Yeah, I like threatening also with realignments in Africa. I like that. Mm.
Yeah, stops the realigned threat on Angola and makes a realigned threat on South Africa. But Justin decides to double overprotect Thailand. Not a bad idea, given that obviously NORAD and the China card, and Quagmire again likely in Sophie's hand. I would have liked to hang on to one small step, I think, though. Oh,
Okay,
Sophie
yeah.
gonna give libs. They could just go one qubit here. Yeah, that's fine. Sophie gonna give liberation rather than spacing it.
Let's see what will be her space card.
Yeah. Oh, we haven't talked about it, but
Okay.
Sophie has Gunman.
Hmm.
Sophie almost certainly has gunman.
Yes, he does.
We have not mentioned it. I'm sure
Hmm.
someone in the chat has said, "Why aren't you guys talking about gunman?" Um, but yeah, Sophie has. We obviously we're not tracking cards diligently up here, as I'm sure Justin is. But Sophie has likely has gunman, likely has Quagmire. Um, I'm not sure what else.
Yeah, but Justin, I'm sure that he knows about both of them. Hmm.
Yes.
So she needs to hold the China card.
Yeah. Justin also knows he's giving up nuclear subs. So I'm sure Sophie's going to want to take advantage of that.
And now he is threatening also realigning Africa. I guess she has to space also to space Quagmire.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Quagmire
Quagmire is.
could
Yeah.
save her from a DEFCON death with Long Gunman, so she could
It could,
also
but I think you're
hold
gonna.
it.
I don't think you take that risk. Excuse me. I don't. I don't think you can play it that safe here. Down 8 VPs, and with the space track looking like it is. Plus, you have the China card.
Yeah,
Um,
it's China, so
yeah, you've got China. So Justin needs a lot to go. You've got China, and of course, if you hit the roll, you're gonna have headline peak as well. So Justin needs a lot to go right. Um, oh, of course. Oh, the chat is gonna rip me to pieces for forgetting about the Pope. The Pope is one of my favorite events in the game. I think Eastern Europe. I think Poland is at 7 though, so I can understand not eventing it.
okay, and
Yep.
he's breaking Argentina to try to avoid a coup in Africa.
Pretty standard play.
Yeah.
So we know about it's Quagmire and Gunman. I think I would have spaced Quagmire before giving up Liberation though, to give
Yes.
Justin less time to fill up um, Cuba. Okay, Justin tries to realign instead, misses on the roll. So that is a problem for him.
Yeah, but
And now,
Sophie
yep.
has to go to the space race. So
Yes, unless Sophie has a card that we're forgetting about, and it's not Gunman or Quag. Okay, there it is. Yep, you're right, Quagmire. So, and Sophie hits on the roll. Okay, so Sophie gave Liberation, and and there's
oh
Aldrich and
great.
Terror.
Okay, so
Oh boy.
a DEFCON win for Justin is right in the hand.
Yes. So Justin, this is a situation I think now it is not definite because of the no reshuffle. It is not definite that um, Sophie has gunman. It is likely given her line of play on turn 7, but it is not definite. So I think this is a Cal headline, right? You're
Yes,
going to
I
headline Cal,
think
AR1 Aldrich, or you might see Sophie headline Glasnost, um, and then you coup AR1, Aldrich AR2, then Terror.
yeah, the thing is that Sophie is taking the pick of the headline, so that gives her interesting advantage.
Yeah, so you can't headline Aldrich here. You have to headline Cal,
Yeah,
and you have to give away the 4 ops and the 2 VPs.
yes. And then event Aldrich and try to make her lose by DEFCON.
Yep.
Maybe I wouldn't take the chance of terrorism, maybe, because you can discard long gunman.
Well, you have to, right? Because Sophie has China. So
Yes,
Aldrich,
yes,
so you got to go Aldrich. I
mm,
think you'll want to go Aldrich AR1, Terror AR2. I just
yes.
hope it doesn't hit gunman.
Hmm.
Okay, Evil Empire. And now, yep, and now you've got to. What? Terror first?
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, I
It's
see that.
got
I can
more
see it.
cards, more chances of
Yes,
not
that's true.
discarding long gunman. Yeah, I think I like that.
I was thinking, of course, of looking for outs for gunmen, but with no reshuffle, um, that play was better. Yeah, and that's going to do it. That will do it. So
Yes.
yeah, I was thinking about Aldrich first, of course, because in case Sophie had outs for gunmen, but there are no outs in the late war hand that would have given it. Obviously, Salt, CMC, how I learned, all those are already seen. So that's going to do it. That is GG. Justin takes it down. So congratulations to Justin. This is a nice win for him. This is a back and forth game. It was a fun one, and Justin wins it on DEF CON turn 8.
Yes. Sophie has a very interesting style too. She's been, I mean, she's not living just in win freely. So yeah, I like the way she's played the game, but DEFCON is DEFCON, and that things happen.
Yeah, that is tough. So this would have been a really interesting one in
Mm,
final scoring. South America even, excuse me, South America dominated by Sophie. Justin in a situation where he's down in the Middle East, down in South America. Justin honestly was zero dominations on the board right now. He's down. Down in Africa, down in South America, down in the Middle East, and then Asia. It looks like he's not going to wouldn't have gotten domination there. So Justin would have been in a little bit of a tough spot in the in final scoring here. But he gets Aldrich and terrorism with Sophie holding a basically a known gunman, and that's tough luck. But that's Twilight Struggle.
Yeah, what I didn't like about Sophie's play was to just play Asnot as influence. I would have hold it. I think I would have tried to hold it just in case gunman comes around. So,
I would have held it, or maybe you know what? I would have triggered it on that turn, given that Sophie had so many one-ups. Sophie had a terrible hand that turn, so I
mm,
don't know. Or maybe that was the next turn. Maybe I'm wrong. But regardless, yes, I completely agree with you. I'm someone who likes to event Kennedy. I am loath to play him for ops.
yeah,
And yep, that would have really helped Sophie come turn 7.
yeah. Unless long gunman hasn't been evented, I like to hold Asnot, even though if that means that maybe I lose a region or something, I I like to try to hold it because then these things happen. Aldrich is very dangerous, and terrorism is very dangerous too. So,
Yep. Yep.
but they
Very
both
dangerous
did a good
cards.
job here.
Even with China, it's unlucky late war. But of course, the odds improved. Sophie had the opportunity to trigger a reshuffle after Grain was played if she wanted to, but decided not to, and that meant that all the late war cards were going to come out. And if Justin gets both Aldrich and Terrorism, that's GG, and that is indeed what happened. Yeah, and Justin saying he was very lucky to get Gunman, and he's right. This board does not look great for him.
Yeah.
Certainly isn't lost. This game certainly is not
Oh,
lost for
no.
him.
Oh, of
But
course.
this would have been a tough fight for him in the late war.
Yeah, but he could have flipped things in South America just easily in Africa. So it wasn't a really clear game for any of them. So
Yeah. Well, this was a fun game to cover and to watch. So Justin wins. Congratulations to him. He moves to 6-5 on the ITSL season, while Sophie will fall to 2-3. A lot of Twilight struggle left for both players as they look to qualify for the playoffs. But congratulations to Justin on a nice DEF CON win here. This is a fun one, a little bit of back and forth. Justin had a nice turn one hand, and had a little bit of an advantage there, but a big ops advantage in on turn 5, turn 6 let Sophie flip over a couple of battlegrounds in South America, make things interesting, and I think there's a good chance you would have had it in final. So it was a fun one, but I think that's going to do it for us. Ani, thanks for joining as always. Any final thoughts on this one?
no, I think we've commented more or less everything. Have you any final comments?
I have a lot to, I always have a lot to say. I just kind of ramble on here. But that will do it for our coverage of ITSL Game of the Week. Thanks everybody for joining in the middle of the workday here for in the US, and perhaps the tail end of the workday over in Europe. We always appreciate you tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this game as much as we enjoyed bringing it home to you. But for now, that's going to do it for our coverage of this game. Thank you to Ani and for joining me on commentary, and thank you to Hari Flores, as always, for keeping us online and on the air. Until next time, this is Justin Abramson reminding you that everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. So long, everybody.